Y'all know what time it is. Time to handle our biz. That's right. 2 on the 10, we call it like we see it. Can you relate? Cause we really be it. And it really be lit every single show. We aren't afraid to shake the status quo. 2 on the 10, so act like you know. We aren't afraid to shake the status quo. 2 on the 10, so act like you know. And here are your hosts, Paul, Mitch, and that degenerate gambler, Greedy Nick. 2 on the 10 podcast.
Oh, we back 2 on the 10, baby.
Yes, sir.
Paul.
I'm Mitch.
Greedy.
Gotta apologize for missing last week. Daddy was under the weather.
That's 2 tardy slips now in one detention.
Not feeling good. Just started to feel a little bit better this week. You know what I'm saying? Got all my liquids, my vitamins, all that good shit. But that's what comes with the territory when you with a girl that has a little kid. These snotty those kids go to fucking kids all day, bro. Them like walking germs, I swear. Straight up germs. Anyway, we back.
Yep.
2 on it, we talked about. We got a lot to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a full show.
We got a lot to talk about. Sometimes I get on here, I'm like, I don't know, but we got a lot.
Yeah, we got a full show. It's going to be like going to the buffet line 3 times.
But we'll get right into it. Let's talk about the weekend, man.
Okay, definitely.
You always got the full weekend, so that's why I start with you.
Yeah, so, just basically, I'm going to keep it real simple, quick. My weekends consist of, now the weather's nice, hitting the, got the bike back, so hitting the bikes, taking the bike out in this nice AZ weather, smoking a couple cigars, and then finding some food spots for content for the whole foodie gang stuff.
There you go.
Some of the spots, I took the bike out a week ago to Queen Creek, and there's this new spot, shout out the owners Bam and Amber. It's called Queen Creek Barbecue, and that place is money, man.
Really?
I'll tell you, like, it might give a
Little miss?
a run. Yeah.
Ooh, that's saying something.
I got to go back though and make sure, like I got to get the barbecue. Yeah, I got to get the ribs and and then the wings and stuff. But it's got like I had the burrito, the brisket burrito, and it had like let's see, it had. I'm not the biggest coleslaw fan, but it has coleslaw in it. Yeah. It has what they call his Bam beans, and then it has Bama beans. Excuse me, because he's from Alabama originally. And then it had brisket, Bama beans, mac and cheese, and the sauce, and it was, man, phenomenal burrito, huge ass burrito for like $16, whatever. And then also had a pizza, which was like a barbecue chicken pizza, but with the quality barbecue chicken. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that was phenomenal. So now this time, got to do the ribs, I got to do the brisket, just the straight up brisket. So I'll do that probably in the next week or two. I'll let y'all know how that works. But yeah, you got to check them out. Queen Creek Barbecue, definitely holding it down. It's rated right now, review-wise, it's rated a 4.9 so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that was one. Let's see what else. Did a Singing Panda.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, had to do a review on it. I'm trying to find all the content spots quick. We'll talk about the other stuff later with the influencers and stuff. But like, everybody, it's a race for content and breaking stuff. And even though we broke it a long time ago on this show. But it's a different ball game, different field, different like, I guess, analytics.
Mm-hmm.
You definitely want to make sure people associate you with breaking brands, and they trust your opinion on where to eat. So yeah, but so I did hadn't done anything with that yet. So did Singing Panda. We always talk about how highly that is for Chinese food, the best on the West Coast, at least in Arizona.
Right.
So yeah, again, I couldn't alter. I had the only thing different this time, I think I did Mongolian beef, and that was phenomenal.
Oh, the Mongolian beef
so
is good.
One of the best plates ever.
Good, yeah.
And one of the best plates anywhere.
General Tso's chicken, too, is fucking delicious.
I think the 3 constants when me and Chris go, and we took my mom sesame chicken, the house lo mein, and then now Mongolian beef. Obviously, get a couple egg rolls, and then this time we didn't have room, but normally I like to get some fried rice too.
Oh, I got to the fried rice. Fire too. That whole place, they got it going on. Oh, I was. So we went on this little mini date night since we've been fucking sick and up in that house. So we were just able to start feeling better like yesterday, something like that. And my girl was getting cabin fever, so I was like, hey, let's get out of the house real quick. Mm-hmm. Went down to got me a little sushi at the spot. If you don't know, that's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
So I told Saki that you were doing a food review. He was like, "Oh, you better make sure he comes in here."
Let's set it up.
Because he always asks every time I come in, "Where's your friend?" I say, "Which one? The big guy."
Yeah,
So
we gotta go back.
he asks about you every time you go.
That's perfect. No, we got to do that.
I think that'd be probably a good review.
That'd be a
for
really
you.
good one.
Yeah.
Definitely got to get that going. And then, speaking of my one other one, actually, I met Nick at Wally Spot and did in downtown Chandler, and we did Get Your Taco.
Okay.
So that was cool. I had
the wings?
Got the wings, got the burger, you know, and then did the lemon pepper fries. That was a good suggestion because it was something different. The Cuban taco, the Cuban crisis taco is one of the best tacos in the Valley. It's different, don't get me wrong, but it's special. And then, of course, the other one for me is always that birria burrito. Like, his birria burrito is money, man. That's the top, to me.
He has some amazing burrito.
Yeah, it's a top 5 burrito. I need him to bring the egg back and do breakfast again with it because that'd be just so different, you know?
No, leave the egg out.
No, Paul's lactose.
Yeah, I was going
intolerant,
I was
can't eat
going
ice
there.
cream.
I was going there and try to
chicken.
make up my own burrito.
Hey, Paul's the only person that's happy the McDonald's ice cream machine's broke.
Oh, I've been eating baby chickens.
So, okay, like, did you ever drink milkshakes when you were growing up?
Yeah. I mean, that's how I found out I was lactose intolerant. Every time that fucking ice cream, something like my stomach be hurt, it'd be running to the bathroom and shit. You know what I'm saying? Belly aching.
Hey, drinking a McDonald's vanilla, it's coming out of Wendy's Frosty.
It's bad, bro. It's bad. It sucks too, because shit. You know, I want to fuck up an ice cream cone or something like that. But
You got to get that lactate stuff.
Yeah.
The pill you take.
No. You know what's funny is my girl's son, he's lactose intolerant too. So only milk he can drink
Like
is
father, like son.
like is lactate. So
No, but they have the pills you can take that counteract the
to counteract that
effects
shit.
of the cheese or milk.
Yeah, I don't trust all.
I got some friends that take that. They highly recommend it.
Or just drink Fairlife.
What's
Shout out to Fairlife. That's my drink.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's lactose free.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
All right. Well, you heard of Fairlife.
yep, Fairlife.
For life?
And that's about it. I did a couple more food spots because I've been definitely stepping up the content game. But yeah, you can check those out on TikTok, Foodie Gang Kappa.
There you go. Grady, what you got, baby?
Hey, speaking of Get Your Taco, I started and did my first shift there the other weekend.
Did you?
So, no, I've always told our boy that owns it, like, hey,
How cute you always thought he was.
no, that he's had staffing issues. It's hard to get good people.
So you had a staph infection?
So I always told him, I go, bro, if you ever need help, I live right down the road. I could come in and help you out, whatever. I can run plates to tables or clean up stuff or wipe tables down, whatever you need. And it's not below me, like it's helping a friend out. So,
I got you.
You said blow?
So I was out in Chandler the other weekend. And we were watching some games over at Piro.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm going to go to Wally's and get some food, go to Get You. And I walk over there and I turn the corner and I'm like, what's that smell? It smelled like a sewage.
Right.
Well, I guess he had like an issue with the septic because he had septic in his place.
Oh, shit.
And so he's in the back like spraying this thing down and doing all this shit. And
Better Febreze that
I was like, man, I was like, bro. He got done. He's like, oh, I don't have to shut down. I fixed it.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, but you can't go back to you stink.
Right.
So he's like, fuck. I was like, bro, I'm like, we'll roll me to my house. I'm like, I'll get you some clothes and you shower real quick and I'll drop you back off here. So we did all that. We get back.
So he showered at your house?
So we pull back into the parking lot. Fucking Mitch. I'm trying to tell a story, this nasty motherfucker.
I'm just asking.
Stick to your food, bitch. So
The grown man showered at your house.
shit. So we get back to the restaurant, and his server had enough and just walked out.
Really?
So we walk in. There was no server in the restaurant.
Hold on. You talking about the female, the girl?
No, this was one of the guys that worked there.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Just walked out, was gone. So he's like, and this was like right after the dinner rush, but it slows down from like 7:30 to 9, but then they pick up like 9:30, 10
'Cause they're open late.
They're open till 2 a.m. So he's like, look, he's talking to me. He's like, bro, he's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might have to close down like at 10 because I don't think I could survive by myself. He's like, I got the cook and me and the one like dishwasher busser guy. He's like, I can't serve all the tables if they come in. And I was like, bro, I got you. I'll take orders and do shit. So he's like, no. So then a couple of my friends came in, and they came in with like 3 girls that they met. So they had like a table of 8. I was like, hey, I got these guys. And I'm like, they're my friends. I'll take care of it. So I just kind of started working. And then next thing I know,
Sir, I found a piece of glasses in my taco.
next thing I know, there's like 8 tables all full of people, all drunk, come in. And I just look at them, I'm like, all right, we're going to figure this out. So I learned how to use this POS system and just ran through and basically hung out with them the whole night and just helped them out.
How much you making tips?
I didn't make anything. I didn't take any money.
There you go.
I don't take money from friends.
So his server just walked out on him and said,
Server
fuck.
just walked out because the whole situation with the thing. And then so that server was inside trying to help the people that were in there at dinner while he was trying to keep the restaurant open. And it just, I don't know. He got mad, whatever, left. But we ended up, like I said, we actually did really well. That was my first time ever like working in the restaurant industry of like
serving people,
just taking orders. Really, that's all I did.
All right,
Was
but
just take orders and put them in the system.
Now you didn't take you didn't take tips, but like what would you have cleared in tips? You know, considering it was just
I mean, I probably from the tables that I took the orders and I brought them drinks and cleaned up when they were done, kind of like a busser type thing, really. You know, there was probably 8 tables, I would say, and every table was like between $80 and $100 because there were like 4 to 6 people, 80 to 120. So even if they tip 10% on that, you're talking, you know, 10 to 20 bucks a table times 8 tables. There you go. So
yeah, there you go.
probably that night the regular server
So you
probably
went from
paid
100.
probably 150 to 250.
There you go.
Just in 3 hours,
There you go.
Yeah.
late night. So
But let's also throw this out there too, real quickly. When we, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, first of all, the dollar is not buying as much. So as a consumer, we deserve the most for our dollar, and we expect it. But let's also keep in mind when we go to these establishments, you know, that there are so many behind the scenes things that the good places can mask it to where you don't really see it. You're not supposed to, you know, go into a place, especially with what you're paying, and see their struggle or, you know, be stressed out over something else. You're supposed to have a good time and everything. But let's just keep it in mind that there's so many things that the good businesses do to keep that away from you. You know?
and I'm just going to piggyback off that, Mitch. You know, especially because we have, you know, I have friends that own small businesses, and Wally's one of them. And to see, you know, I've been in his place where it's been a bad night and the service was slow and the chef or the cook messed something up. Like, I don't just bash a place just because of one bad, you know, everybody can have a bad night. I have bad nights. I screw up things at my work. I don't walk into a restaurant like I'm a 5-star chef and critique every little thing about the place or go on Yelp and give it 1 star because the food took a little longer than normal. Like, we got to start supporting each other and not just take everybody down, you know, because we think we're high and mighty or we think we have a opinion that matters about food when the only thing we know about food is how to shovel it down our throat. And, you know, we don't, you know, I'm a big boy. I like to eat. Mitch likes to eat. Like, that's one thing we like to do is eat. So, like, we've ate at some of the nicest restaurants in the country, and we've also ate at some of the dumpiest places in the country. And you can get a good meal at both places.
Oh, without a doubt.
And you can get a good meal anywhere. And and I think Mitch agrees, we try to find what's good at a place. Like, you might go to a place and be like, you know, I didn't really enjoy this, or the pizza wasn't that great. But there's always something you can take it from and say, you know, if I were to go back there, I wouldn't mind. I would get this again. This was good.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, especially with small business, if you're just going to bash them,
You should stay at home.
yeah, you should stay home. It's like,
Keep your shitty attitude at home.
and I've seen it I've seen it at his restaurant where people come in and they throw an attitude because things were slower, they mess something up, and they don't understand, like, he's a small business and he's got 2 or 3 or 4 people working for him at any given time during the day. And if one of those guys calls in sick or something happens, and so, you know, people have kids and family and they get sick and, you know, all things happen, like, you're just gonna destroy the restaurant because they had a bad day or someone's kid got sick or they're a little short-staffed.
Can I say this? The same people don't realize some of them, I guess, get off on it. Okay, pause. But other people don't realize they do it, but they don't realize they do a lot of shit like that because they're the negative energy sucking type people. And again, they don't even realize they do it, but they're the same people that when that business goes out of business, they sit there and go, that's too bad. There's nothing here. Well, how come there's not enough stuff? We don't have this. We don't have that. Well, you didn't appreciate it. Well, you had it. Right.
And that's the same thing I say about tipping. Like, you may
tipping
have
on
a
four
horrible
floors.
experience, and let's say you go and your food's wrong or whatever. It's not the fault of your waiter or waitress. Like, that doesn't mean because you had a bad experience that you just don't give a tip or give them $1 on like an $80 bill because you weren't happy because the restaurant as a whole failed. That server still had to serve you, bring your food, get your drinks, get your refills. I just hate when people are like, "Oh, I had a bad experience, so I didn't give them a tip, or I gave them a small tip." It's like that person relies on tips to live. They don't live off of the minimum wage for servers. They rely on those tips, and they can't control everything that happens in that restaurant. They control what they can do at the table. And I just hate to see sometimes when people just have a bad experience and then just decide not to tip. Like, even if the server pissed me off and it was a horrible experience and they never came around, I'm still leaving them a tip because I know that I don't know what's going on in their life, what could have happened that day where maybe their parents are in the hospital or something and they're preoccupied and they're not thinking about the job. Like I said, I've had bad days at my work, and I hope that I have more good days than bad days. But if a guy that I'm dealing with, I'm setting something up for him and I have a bad day because something's going on in my life, I hope that doesn't just, judge me forever. And then, everybody's entitled to a bad day. And I think that we got to remember that sometimes when in this day and age of social media and everybody wants to be, have an important opinion. Everybody thinks their opinion matters. At the end of the day, there's been plenty of times you've been wrong or you had a bad day. You got to remember that, especially when you're talking about small businesses and how you're going to possibly affect their livelihood.
Speaking of tipping, I think Paul Wall said it best. 4-4s, I'm tipping, wood grain, I'm gripping. Catch me laid, switching with the paint dripping, turn your neck and your dame's missing. Oh, never mind.
That is true.
So, I mean, here's the thing is, I had it kind of down on our list to talk about, influences in food and stuff like that. But I think since we're talking about it, we might as well
cross over.
Yeah, let's just cross over and jump into it. Don't worry about my weekend. Like I said, I was sick, so it wasn't that. It was fucking in the house. It was boring as fuck. So anyway, but let's talk about influences. I mean, we're going to jump this ahead of some of the other topics.
We'll go light before we go heavy.
Yeah. So Mitch, you've gotten to the industry, of being a food critic, quote unquote a food critic, influencer now. They have several people that are already in your space and stuff like that.
Yeah, way higher up.
Of course. Definitely. But you've also got a chance to see the different spectrums of these people.
Yeah.
And kind of the bandwagon off what Greedy was saying is, some of these guys are fucking harsh on these guys. And yes, you want to rely on these guys for honest reviews and stuff like that, and where to eat and what not to eat. I know there's a couple influencers that even if they have a bad meal, they either don't comment on it or they'll comment on something they did like.
That's what I do.
You know what I'm saying? I've heard influencers before saying, this was a really good meal, but I didn't care for this thing. But they didn't bash the whole meal or whatever. But we're not gonna throw his name out there, but there's a big influencers here in Arizona. I think you got a little gripe with them and stuff like that.
Yeah. Of course. I'll even tell a story.
The problem is he's taking it too far, and I think he's probably taking it for entertainment. Kind of feeding it to the trolls instead of giving an honest review of not everything in that fucking restaurant was bad. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing is, not everything, I like I told you, tamari is, for me, the best sushi's, hand down. But I guarantee you there's a roll or there's something on that menu that I'm not going to like. You know what I'm saying? That's not for everybody. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and I've been to high class steakhouses and had a bad steak once. Yeah. They're not home runs every time just because you're spending $80, $100 on your steak.
So to act like it is funny, first of all.
I mean, here's the thing is like, Ocean's 44, my favorite fucking restaurant. You know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, that meal's going to be on fucking point. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But if I catch them late at fucking night or something like that, they're trying to get out of there and I'm trying to catch a late meal, it may not be on point. It may be,
it comes out.
It comes out. And that's what I'm trying to say is like, I get it. Your job is to give a honest critique of it. But what I'm saying, when that honest critique goes over from being trying to just straight bash the fucking place, that's where I have a problem.
No, agreed. I think we all do. And let me just say this, though. Here's the funny part. There's technically no rules on this. So we're talking about, one, what we'd like to see, what we think. And, people can turn it back on us. Well, just because you think that way doesn't mean other people think that way. But again, there is a responsibility with this kind of reach, if you're trying to grow it. And I think there's a responsibility, there's a moral. Not trying to sound corny or nothing like that, but do you really make your living, or are you trying to make your living, or even get some clout off of hurting other people? Right. And again, you could sit there and act like you don't, but there's different ways to sit there and say, I didn't care for this, or there's this, and there's different ways to disrespect and insult. All I got to say is this, and I know it's the internet, so again, we're talking practicality, like getting your places to eat, but we're also talking entertainment. And that's the toughest line. And yeah, some people out there, they're just blatantly disrespectful. And the thing I challenge them to say is, man, be real to you and at least say shit you'd say with those people in their face. And I know everybody's going, I'd say it in their face. No, you wouldn't. Like you would not say the same thing you're saying. You wouldn't make up lies. Like, again, when they start lying and start saying stuff like that one dude, and we can go into detail, I don't care. He went to a 4-7 bakery, I call the cat, I won't give his name to give him any credit, but, people in AZ might know, but I call it All Hate Reviews. That's, All Hate Reviews. And he's done it enough. And I'll tell you this much. I'll just spill the story of how I feel. I did a review for a donut shop that wanted me to come in and do it, and all of a sudden, within 2 days, and I've had success on, I'm a low man on the totem pole numbers wise, but my reach in all the different forms and the people I actually know in real life, kind of counters that. So yeah, I may have the lowest TikTok numbers ever, growing, but my reach in real life and in all the different people and my networks and all the stuff I built, I put that up against anybody's, especially these people out here.
Like you said, the respectability that you have.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually your credibility.
Credibility, exactly. Of really doing this for years.
For
decades.
Before you even became an influencer and stuff like that, this is what you were doing, without even, putting it on camera.
Well, this is what pisses me off, is that the influencers get it twisted. You're an influencer. You're not a critic. You have no background in culinary. You don't know. You're an influencer. So you're supposed to be influencing people. And usually you want to use your influence for good. So you want to drive people to business. You want to try to, like Keith Lee does out of Vegas. He tries to uplift small businesses that are maybe struggling or going, and he'll go in and he'll find something. 99 out of 100 times he'll find something that he can appreciate and like, to drive people to that business. And his fans turn out, they've saved businesses in Vegas just by him showing up there and saying, yeah, this place is great, come on in. And the next week they'll have a line down the street for the business. Like, he's not a food critic, he's a food influencer. A critic would be someone that maybe is, I would say like a Guy Fieri, culinary trained. He's going to taste it. He's going to understand the different flavor profiles.
And what it takes to make it.
Knows what it takes to make it. And he's going to critique it based off of that. That's a critic. I don't think a food influencer should be trying to give ratings or critique people's food when you couldn't make that.
Like let's just say this. It's real gimmicky. It's real gimmicky too. Like you got, like, for example, I'll contrast it with, or compare it to sports. Jim Rome in the 90s. Everybody he had a popular show. Skip Bayless. Popular takes or popular takes for views and for money. But he always, for example, would bang LeBron, you know what I mean? Pause. He would sit there and purposely never give the guy a compliment, you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, I'm not the biggest Bron fan, and I can't stand his disciples. I say that all the time. But the fact is, the dude is going down as one of the greats, if not the greatest ever. I'll say one of the greatest ever. And to sit there and act like, he's not, and to just always knock everything like he does. He has his favorites, and now everybody strategically does this. They're not genuine with themselves. They're like, what can elevate me? What can get people upset so that they keep tuning in? Or what one-liners can I say that are entertaining? But this is at the expense.
But then doesn't that fucking break down your credibility at that point? Though?
You would think so, but we live in a different world in different times to where the credibility,
a lot of people that
credibility doesn't matter.
A lot of people feed off.
Like you look at it. I remember when rappers used to have to write their rhymes. They don't have to anymore. I remember when people had talked about street codes. Now, you didn't always have to live it, but you had to be around it enough. You couldn't just go jack it and make it up, which is what's going on now. And definitely, there was definitely, if you were affiliated in, you know, whether it was street life or whatever else, you didn't snitch on people. And that's all out the freaking window. So if that's all out the window, influencing on social media is definitely a free-for-all, especially when you put trinkets in front of people to, you know, to create like any kind of, to advance themselves. I mean, people are as loyal as their options, and they're going to sit there and preserve themselves at any means necessary. And that's where I call bullshit. It's like that. I'll go back to that same guy. He sits there and goes, I'm going to give the honest reviews. No, you're not. If you're full of shit and you're lying, and I'll call it to your face. I will tell you to your face you're full of shit, truthfully, because you're trying to gimmick the shit. You're saying stuff that doesn't even happen. You're saying places food like it's dog food and your dog didn't eat it when your dog wasn't even with you. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, I get it's supposed to be a joke and everything else, but half these people don't even understand that shit. And then we're in such a messed up world that you look at the comments and the dude's winning. He's winning with the comments. Because again, who's in the, who there's the world's a bunch of trolls.
Well,
They
this generation is the same generation that thrives off of, let's go on YouTube and watch people get beat up. And
or let's go to the sideshow and let's, you know, all 100 or 200 of us,
Yeah.
you know, and then we'll just like stomp people out and, you know, whatever else, you know, or
the knockout game back, you know, like that's all the generation they're grown up. Now that they're not in the streets anymore fighting people, they're going to they want to have that negative energy.
And that ain't everybody, but again, it's just that mentality. Social media's kind of warped it, the way the world is, the lack of hope, you know, I mean, everything. And you see these influencers, and again, back to the point again, you know, just like with sports, we go, man, if you never played it at a high level, what's your credibility? You know, and I'm not saying, you know, again, and that doesn't mean it wipes everybody out, but it makes you go, hold on, how can you critique and be that critical when you can't do what they do? Again, you know, you can sit there and call it how you see it. You can sit there, but to start taking jabs and to start saying people are trash, when in reality, I guess at that point, I'm going to bully the bully for a second, and I'm going to review your reviews then. You know, again, just like I'd sit there when you sit there, you know, Skip Bayless would say stuff, or, you know, Stephen A or whoever, they got to be held accountable. And it seems like they're holding everybody else accountable, but they're not holding themselves accountable. No one holds them because it's a take, and people love crazy takes. It's entertainment. And that's where we get, but when you're entertainment and your dollar, you're making money, hurts a business. You know how it can help. We saw how Keith Lee can help it. We see how David Poitney can help it, you know, but we also see how it can hurt it. And when this person purposely goes out and says hurtful things to beyond just critiquing, you know, or being honest, he's lying, for sure lying.
Or fabricated. Over
the top, giving restaurants that have 4 7s out of 5s, 2 out of 10s, and 2.5s, and saying they're the worst thing ever. I mean, it's.
I'll just say this. This guy reviewed one of my favorite bagel spots in town, and the bagels are good. Yeah. They're some of the best.
They sell out halfway through the day.
Yeah, halfway through. I mean, they're only open from like 5 to 11, and they're not open. I think they're only open 5 days a week now. So the guy from 5 to 11, 5 days a week, is able to pay his bills and make all the money he needs to make, and that's how many bagels he sells. And you're going to go in and say it's the worst bagel you've ever had in your life, and he talks about how the texture and everything. I'm like, have you been to New York? Have you ever tried a New York bagel? His bagels are the closest thing to New York style bagels that you can get here. And I go to New York, you know, once, twice every year, and I buy bagels and bring them home with me. Right, so I know he's the closest thing. There's a couple other spots that get close, but Bagel Man is one of the closest places in the state to a New York style bagel. And here's the thing: you go to a New York bagel shop. Not every time is it going to be a home run. Sometimes
same rules apply.
Yeah, the same rules apply. But that you can taste the quality of the bagel, and you know that, like, if you just take that bagel by itself and eat it, it's bar none one of the better bagels in Arizona.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. Let's put it in perspective. I think this is the soundbite right here. Let's say you watch Michael Jordan play, right? Okay. And Michael Jordan's a bad example because he brought it every night almost, right? But let's let's just use it as an example. You watch Michael Jordan play, and he averages, 30 points a game, give or take. And you happen to be there on the night he scored 23. And he turned the ball over 7 times, and he shot 35% from the field and they lost, right? If you're that guy, you're saying he's trash, he's dog water, he's this, he's that. You're not taking the quality of work over everything. You're rating the experience of one game that you watch.
Yeah.
How come we don't look at it in those terms? Right. It's like this person goes in and there's no critique over when you go, what time do you go, the conditions you go. There's no data. It's just sensationalism.
Yeah.
And again, that's where it's like, that's where it's like what's real and what's not. You're trying, and I don't have a problem with most of it except for the disrespect. I'm a person that if you talk disrespectful, make sure you say it to people's faces that you're affecting.
Right.
And again, and that's one part. And two, if you're going to stand on a platform that you're honest, because he sits there and says honest reviews. I'm going to call you out on your honesty because I think you're full of shit, and I'll say it to your face. I promise you that.
Right.
And we can take it wherever you want to take it after that. To be honest. Just because again you're affecting people. Like I saw the one place that the bakery that he dissed, there are again 4-7 lines all they sell out to. Same situation. It's almost like I'm strategically going to shake stuff up, pick a couple places that are super popular, and then totally destroy them. Mm-hmm. And then that's going to give me credibility because half the people are going to talk about them like we are. Mm-hmm. Because they're angry or upset or just like, who the hell is this dude? And then others that are haters anyway are gonna sit there. I agree with you. I like this guy. You know what I mean?
So is that if like Paul was a reviewer and he was reviewing pizza?
I thought about that. Bianca's, yeah.
Just to get his name out there.
Exactly. But
I'm gonna tell you the truth. Listen, I didn't like Gilbert Pizza at first, right? Yeah. Okay, I went back, had it again. What did I say? I said it was good, right? Okay. I guess I got to go back to Pizza Bianca one more time. I just said the time I was there, they brought out 3 or 4 different pizzas when we were sitting at the table.
Yeah.
None of them fuckers were edible to me.
The thing I'll say about Bianca is it's a different style pizza. Yeah. It's that fufu pizza.
Yeah.
And some people like that. And that's the other thing about food reviews.
But when I had a problem with it when they were saying this is the best pizza in Arizona, and it's fucking not even close.
Well, it depends what your style.
That's just like on these pizza review boards. I'll post up Jets Pizza, right?
Yeah.
And I'm just posting it because you share what you have, and everybody talk. And then some people pop in trash, and I'm like, who the hell? First of all, who the hell are you? I'll put up my resume on food all day compared to anybody's. Yours.
I've been seeing a lot of TikToks about Jets Pizza.
Oh, Jets is blowing up.
Yeah.
Jets is blowing up for a chain.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we also differentiate chain and mom and pops. Always try and support mom and pops, but every once in a while you want something a little different because you know what that It's like you just want to mix it up.
So they call that Detroit style pizza.
Detroit style. Yep. The D.
But it's fucking good.
I love Detroit style pizza.
I like Jets. I
love Jets because it's just got quality ingredients. Like here's what's funny. Detroit style pizza done right is no different than Chicago. It's very similar, I should say, to Chicago deep dish.
Right.
Because you have thick, good cheese, a ton of cheese, and you have a heavy crust that like that whole. And here's the thing for a person like myself. The other thing too is you can go get a tavern pie, and they're good. But a tavern pie, a 14 or 16-inch tavern, is going to be like $33 nowadays.
Right.
Or I could get a 14-inch deep dish for $27. I don't know how that math works.
And be full.
And 2 pieces will keep me full.
Yep.
And like there's 8 pieces on there. And even if I want to stretch it and overdo it, I'll eat 3 and be full. God, I shouldn't have ate that third.
Yep.
And then I'll have 2 more slices the next day.
Yep.
And then my girl will have 1 slice that night and 1 slice the next day.
Yep.
And that pie actually lasts. Whereas honestly, that tavern, I could smash the whole tavern myself.
Yeah, I hear you.
And go, I should have got some more stuff.
Sometimes I get those tavern pizzas real super thin, the square cut.
Yeah.
And I'll be eating, and I'll look and I'll be like, where the hell did the pizza go? I'm still hungry.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're eating Chinese food with MSG in it. Like they put MSG in this shit or what? I'm still hungry.
And let's go back to the influencers real quick. It's funny because there's no rules to the game. So of course it's going to be a free for all. It's a wild, wild west. I mean, let's just take the roots of where do you guys think it started? I think it gained super fame with 2 people, Dave Portnoy, with Barstool, and then with Keith Lee.
Yep.
The 2 different ways, to do it. I think and at first Portnoy's was almost a joke. I mean, it wasn't a joke. I mean, he was doing his stuff. I mean, he went out. I remember watching him do Sbarros, rating Sbarros, and the fact that he says 1 bite and takes like 7 or 8, and he's got the New York thing or the East Coast thing, and he's going to have that bias. So it's like, first of all, a guy with an East Coast bias, he's gonna dog, Chicago styles, or he's he's gotten better about it because
But he even says like, this isn't my style, but he still rates it. But he'll tell you it's not his style.
Yeah.
And he said before, like, you got to come and try it for yourself. Like, this is my opinion of the rating.
But sometimes
there's been a couple of times that he's bashed.
He pops off. He pops off.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes someone might have pissed him off or had a bad experience, but I think for the most part, and he's gotten much more. I think as his reach has expanded, he understands
diplomatic.
The effect that he has. He's been much more diplomatic and gives I think a little bit higher reviews for certain things. Or I guess his low has come up. He's not giving 2s and 1s. He's giving 5s and 6s.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to say like, and you don't have to say I'll never eat at this place again, and all this other extra drama, just to get attention. It's like screaming, "Pick me, pick me, pick me,"
Yeah, and he doesn't say, "Oh, this tasted like dog food."
Yeah, yeah, like my dog, he took a bite and didn't like it, and I'm like, bro, come on, man, shut the hell up. And so and then you got the Keith Lee, who again, he'll sit there and go, you know what, this one wasn't for me, but I can see how other people like it, or my girl liked it, or whatever else, but I like this over here. Each person is gonna do it differently, but again, it's so funny watching people imitate Pointney with the rating scores. And it's like, what's your ratings based off of? Like who gives you the right to rate? It's just so funny how it's accepted, but hey, it's entertainment, y'all. At the end of the day, it's entertainment, and people will tune into what they like to see, Yeah,
for sure. All right, well, let's talk about something a little bit more, a little serious.
I thought that
was. But no, because this next story caught me off guard, because when I heard the name at first, I was like, oh shit. So the kid's name is Karmelo Anthony,
but with a K.
Yeah. And so before I sat down and really dove into the story, I just kept hearing, oh, Karmelo Anthony's in trouble. Karmelo Anthony's in trouble. And I'm like, what the fuck? This should be huge news. I saw a little bit of it, but it wasn't that. It wasn't all over Sports Center and shit like that. So I had to go back and check it. But this was a high school kid whose name is Karmelo Anthony. Got into it he runs track, and got into it with another kid that runs track. They were beefing. Karmelo Anthony ended up allegedly, I don't know if that would be allegedly. He stabbed him.
And admitted to it, actually.
But they don't know if it's self-defense or not. That's what I'm saying. That's what he's claiming it was self-defense, stuff like that. I don't know how you claim self-defense when one person has a knife and one person doesn't, unless you were just getting whooped on and you felt like you had to protect yourself that way. So they arrested the kid, and then he was released on bond.
It's supposed to be $1 million, and they dropped it to $250,000.
Yeah, bond. Right now he's under house arrest at the house, something like that.
Allegedly in a new house.
Yes. So he also raised his kid also for his defense, has also raised almost $500,000 to this point right now for his defense. People are just doing GoFundMe, sending him his family money and stuff like that. This is so. Let me preface this: the young man is black. The kid that he stabbed is white. It is interesting because it brings up what we've go back and forth on with Black Lives Matter. I've seen people on social media on both sides, talking about white lives matter too, stuff like that. If I don't know if we should go down that road. I mean, we can talk about it, but on the surface, it's two adolescents going at it, and one of them lost their life. First of all,
and two families are ruined forever.
So,
no matter what.
Regardless on their race, you have to stop and think about that. You know what I'm saying? Before we, sensationalize this whole fucking thing, is this situation has ruined two families' lives, and it will never ever be the fucking same after again. One person is not here anymore, and the other one, we don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Exactly.
Young man's life's gonna be destroyed.
But here's the thing: even if, like, let's say they prove it's self-defense and it gets off, you don't come back from stabbing someone unless you're just like crazy, like messed up in the head type person. You don't come back from killing somebody. You don't. Your life's forever changed.
Right.
I mean, if you look at, I don't know if you guys heard the story about the LSU receiver that was driving his car. Police were chasing him, and he ended up hitting another car, and the person in that car died. Kyron Lacey, I think his name was. He was like going to go to court. He was supposed to be drafted, possibly. He was supposed to go to court. He was facing like manslaughter charges or maybe even higher charges than that. He ended up a couple weeks ago just killed himself because he couldn't take the pain and the stress of, oh my God, my actions killed somebody.
Right.
So, but other people might have just said, oh, it's just some stupid football player who's being stupid and he doesn't care. Well, obviously he did care. He cared so much he took his own life because he couldn't live with what happened.
Right.
And it's like, we don't know the whole situation. We weren't there. We don't know how Karmelo, what he's feeling now. He could be suicidal. He could be like, what the hell did I do? I didn't mean to, or I just, everybody's been in a fight where things have escalated and then, or you take things a little bit too far. Sometimes that shit happens.
I mean, let's just touch on a couple of things.
Yep.
For many people, this is a race situation. For some, it's not. And again, I'm not gonna say who it is and who it isn't, but I've seen it play out. All you have to do is look at comments and the style of a page, and you can get the style of 80%, 90% of the comments. Yeah. And I don't like to, but I end up reading a lot of the comments just to see where everybody's kind of temperature check everybody. And it's crazy how grown adults will sit there and play themselves, in my opinion, and draw a line in the sand based on the race, and not on the content of character. Like quoting Dr. Martin Luther King,
Right.
or on the facts of what happened. And I know the facts are sketchy. There's a lot of allegeds and hearsays. Like, for example, a couple things that bug me. I again, we'll wait till the court case. But I've heard the rumor, and again, I want to say that it's a rumor until the court case, that the kid, Karmelo Anthony, has been sent home from school for bringing that knife before, or a knife. Have you guys heard that?
No, I haven't heard.
That's what I heard. We'll wait to see. If that is the case, that would bother me, one.
Right.
Two, and again, this is a tough one because you've got to go back to yourselves in high school and whatever. I didn't take pictures back then, different era.
Right.
But there are pictures of him flipping off the camera. Okay, big deal, whatever. But the picture with the assault rifle. Okay, again, just again, certain things, and the funny thing is, you look at the kid, and he doesn't look like the kid. And again, a lot of people in jail don't either look like the kid that had the assault rifle or that's flipping people off. Like, sometimes people try, again, for cameras. So that, that part. Now, I've watched people that are on his side say, that it didn't happen at school. It happened at a track meet, but I consider that to be part of school. And again, don't get me wrong, I'm just kind of throwing stuff out here and of my thoughts. And then here's the interesting one, though. Just because he's in your seat doesn't give you the right to touch him. I agree with being careful with touching people, first of all. But let's bring ourselves, if we're going to be honest, let's bring ourselves to high school mentality. Rival school.
Yeah.
If you're in my locker room or if you're in my area, and I'm not saying this makes it right, this is the rules, but I'm going to sit there. Someone has to hold it down. And again, but they're changing the whole rules for everything. Back in our era, that was an automatic fight if the person's going to be disrespectful.
Right.
And again, I'm not saying that those rules don't apply. That era is gone. But the people that don't have a clue of how that shit works, I'd also like to know, do they know each other before this incident? I'd like to know. I haven't heard.
Right.
I haven't heard because they go to different schools. But Frisco, we used to go there for the card shows. It's a small area, small, nice area too.
Right.
In fact, I don't know if isn't one of the schools where Kyler Murray's from, the big one that won the state, or whatever. I think so. But so okay, that's another one though. So imagine this: he's in the other school's tent, and these guys come in. I mean, again, I know people. So there's a confrontation. What are you doing here? Blah blah blah. He says, "I dare you to try and do something," and reaches into his bag.
Gotcha.
Again, like you brought the knife. You're going to. I dare you to do something. Now, again, I need to know on the other end. How did it start? Did he push him? Right. Did he punch him? Was the other brother involved too? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if that necessarily for me, and again, I'm not the judge, I'm just trying to understand. If the two kids jump him, maybe it changes the scenario, but you still brought the gun there. Like here's not the gun, sorry, excuse me, bleep that, the knife. It kind of reminds me of the laws, like if your intent is to rob a bank and somebody gets hurt in the process, you take the full weight of all that other stuff. Now, I'm not saying your intent, you brought a knife, but you also were trying to stand your ground in an area that wasn't yours. Now, it's not illegal. And so the people that are really sticking are saying it's not illegal. I'm sitting there questioning what you're thinking. You know, it's
was he looking to try to hurt somebody?
Yeah, exactly. Like, let's put it this way. All I got to say is this. I guess this is what I got to say. We're going to open, and I saw this one, there was actually this one black man that spoke on this. He goes, look, people, I have no horse in this race, but he goes, black people that are voting for, or that are just going to support him no matter what, be very careful. And be very careful what you are saying, because you will open the floodgates. This will set precedents to, this is what he said, and I'm just quoting him because I thought he was thinking chess, not checkers. He goes, this kid gets off somehow, and you're defending that shit.
Right.
Be prepared that if you're down the street and let's say somebody of a different color, or it doesn't even have to be color, but says something to you, you feel disrespected. You put your hands on them. They were waiting for you to put your hands on them and pull out a gun and smoke you. Now you're whole, you can't put your hands on anybody. Does that go out the window, or do you still stick by that? Because this is going to change a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and again, back to this, I go back to both families are forever torn apart. Yep. Both parents love their kids. I go back to just the stupid things that I avoided and the ones I didn't when I was their age.
Well, shit, I walked into, I mean, you want to talk about rival high school?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they were one of our rivals. They weren't the main rival. But we walked into, so I went to school, Prairie Valley High School, right? And then Chaparral High School was another high school that was in there. And coincidentally, it's the same night I met my ex-wife. But walked into this party. It was all Chaparral. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Ken, who was on the show before, he happened to notice when I was there. His other cat named Jamie, he was from our actual other rival high school. He was just hanging out with us.
And for people to understand, I mean, most people have been to high school, but if you're not in the scene, if you're not in the thick of it, it's almost damn near like gangs.
Yeah,
it is
like gangs. It is like gangs.
It's territorial, it's gangs, it's huffing and puffing, it's testosterone.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, half the football team was there. They knew who I was.
Yeah.
They knew who Ken was, whatever. They were already asking what we were doing there, whatever, you know, so that we were just there for a little bit. We felt the tension. You know, you felt the tension and stuff. And we were like, okay, it's time for us to leave, right? So, you know, we leaving, walking outside, walking down the street, happen to want to, you know, you're talking about scenario. As we're walking down the street, one of the safeties for that team recognized who I am, starts woofing, starts talking shit. Oh, you know who I am, number 5. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Who the fuck you are? You know what I'm saying? Dude, you know, you talking a lot of shit, you know. And what you doing over here and all this stuff. So he's moving closer towards me. So as you know, you know, you don't let nobody get, you know, closer than your arm's length. You know what I'm saying? And he walked it up into that space. I think statutes of limitations.
Oh yeah, they're definitely 7 years, baby.
Yeah, I guess talk about this now. So, you know.
Paul stabbed him and he's dead.
Well, that bad, you didn't say that.
Oh, wait.
I just that was that.
OJ did it.
But no, he caught a 2-piece. So he caught a 2-piece quick.
With a biscuit.
Yeah. And he caught a 2-piece. And the dude that was with him, instead of fucking turning on me or turning on the kid, he ran into the party to go get everybody else. You know, we bolted after that because we knew what the fuck it was. No way. Listen,
You're not finding the whole party.
I'm not finding the whole party.
And they're gonna
You know what
stop.
I'm
They're
saying?
gonna break your car. They're gonna kick your door. Yeah.
So, so we took off running. Of course, by the time they came out, stuff like that, we could see the whole fucking mob and coming out, looking for me and all this other shit, whatever. But what I'm getting at is confrontationals, especially if it's Robert, can happen in an instant. And I was black, the kid was white at the time. You know what I'm saying? I mean, back in the day, we didn't use knives. We just use our fucking hands. But I'm just saying there's a lot more to the story that goes into that we don't know about. And I don't want people to make this thing a race thing.
Yeah.
I want them to see on the surface of what this was. I want them to see as like you said, two families' lives have been impacted forever. First of all, there's a kid that's possibly going to have the rest of his life changed one way or another, and there's one that's gone for them, forever. So it just over probably high school fucking rivalry and stuff like that, and that's what I'm saying is you gotta look at it at that. You gotta look at it as this was adolescence being adolescence instead of saying, oh, this is a white thing, or this one, oh, the kid was, this. No, they're fucking kids, bro. Straight up. If you don't remember how you were as an adolescent, hothead fucking motherfucker, that's on you.
Hey, speaking of that real quick, not to interrupt you, and I know we're in limited time.
Yeah.
I'll be honest on one story real quick. In high school, so I rolled deep. We had this whole crew out for lack of statute of limitations. Again, it's over. But we used to call ourselves TGP, if something else. The people in my city know all about that.
Right.
And it was just a party crew that turned into what was perceived as a gang. And it could get up to 60, 80 people deep. True story. So, and back then it was about numbers, even though there were weapons sometimes. Yeah. It was more about numbers. And so people knew not to mess with people because they knew everybody type shit. Right. So I'd always like to party in Benicia. And I remember one time, me and Ty, rest in peace, my boy, and another guy were walking down in my car. Everybody else is over at this one party down the street. And we're walking back to my car, kind of drunk, and it's down at the end of the strip. And we see this guy drive by, and he just kind of was mugging, Mexican cat, bigger dude. And I don't really know, I can't place him, whatever, but I just could tell the way he was looking. Yeah. So we're about 2 blocks from my car. I look down the strip, and I see this truck coming. And it's about 6 people in the back of the truck, and that car again leading them. And I'm like, hold on. And I already knew to look for that car. Yeah. And I'm like, hold on, something's not right. Hey, let's get to the car. No, you're tripping. I go, bro, run to my car, run. I'm everybody's down, but they're so far down that there's no way we can, get to them. Yeah. And I start seeing what I think are bats, and they're there's bats sticking up in the back or whatever. And I just go, man, you got to run, bro, run. And so we start running. We get to my car. They jump out with bats. One dude had a chain. Oh, wow. And I seriously hit the car. I spun the car. The dude missed with the chain. Right. And we peeled out and took off. And we go down the street. A cop pulled me over at the other end because he saw me peel out. And I go, what'd you pull me over for, officer? Well, he goes, you peeled out and you took off. I go, would you see the people, that were trying to attack us? Yeah, what'd you do to piss them off this week? Because they knew me, right? I go, I don't even know and I didn't know who it was, so I had to find out who it was. I found out who it was. Didn't know I had a problem with dude, didn't know anything about it. So guess what? We're there next week, 60 deep, at the time. That guy pulls up in his car because everybody went down that strip. Yeah. There he goes, go. 10 carloads start chasing the guy. Right. I'm leading him. We find him. We chase him all through Benicia, whatever. Pull in the far back. He tries to turn around. The cars are blocking him out. Right. I block, him in. He's with this girl. Right. There's 10 carloads. There's literally 5 people in each car. Right. I know in my heart, some of the dudes I'm with, I'm not trying to act like the toughest dude, but there's some crazy dudes, especially these rocker dudes that used to roll with us. They used to be like a United Nations, Right, yeah. Blacks, whites, Mexicans, Filipinos, Asians, right. Hawaiians, Samoans. And then every once in a while, when the 10 crazy rocker dudes would show up, it would go to another level because they'd be always popping acid and they'd always have their knives and everything else with them. I could tell you so many different stories. Right. And I'm like, oh, they're going to kill this dude. They'll kill him. They'll stab him for sure. Right. And I'm like, man, so I pull my car out and let him go because it's with this girl. And then they start screaming at me, "You let him go!" You know, we were supposed to do this. I go, bro, this ain't the way I'm supposed to handle that stuff. And you know, and so anyway, long story short, this little back and forth. I get a bad rep because his gangster friends are like, one day finally I hear we're gonna fight one-on-one. So I pull up by myself. Len actually went with me because I was just gonna go. I'm like, I'm gonna end all this thing right now. I pull up with that 6 people, me and Len.
Yeah.
I go, we're supposed to fight tonight, 7:30. And he goes, well, you know, and then these dudes were like, why'd you try and jump our boy with this and this? And I go, first of all, I let him go. You know, second of all, he tried to jump us the week before. I go, what? I go, now I know who the fuck you are. You were at that party, bro. We were cool. You gave me I go, you brought in the Bud Light. I actually liked the dude. You know, when you're in high school and you can't score beer, different school though, right? Yeah. He goes, well, this Lisa girl said you said this. That girl, she's been trying to find out where I live from my ex and said, and then his boys go, you listen to her, bro? Blah, blah, blah. You know, so we squashed everything. Okay. And it was all over a misunderstanding. Yeah. And nobody really knew how serious it could have gotten. Yeah. That someone could have seriously got hurt. And then now you're having feuds for maybe probably generations because the cities are so different. Yeah. And I just want to, I know it's a long story, but it just, again, one of many, you know, when you put yourself out there, it just goes to show you, like, if one thing goes wrong, somebody's in jail for the rest of their life. Yeah. And they might have been scared, they might have been retaliated, whatever it is. And I'm not defending any of this shit. I'm just showing you how it can get so messed up. Yeah, and really, color had nothing to do with our story. Yeah. I can't say the same, I don't know, but I'd like to hope that let's just treat these as kids, as high school kids. Yeah. And let's figure out, I hope justice prevails. And, you know, my thoughts and prayers go out to both families and everybody involved and affected, you know. Let's find the truth.
And, you know, it's crazy. Not this show, but some show, I'm going to have to tell you guys a story about some of the high school incidents that we had to. Yeah. It got to the point that there was there was one night that was so crazy that things escalated so far from a little rivalry high school beef that, you know, people should have got locked up and probably and got lucky they didn't. But there was, you know, lawyers involved, all kinds of craziness over just some high school beef that escalated. And the people that ended up getting affected by it weren't really the people that were involved. It was their friends and it was our friends, but them and us were the ones that were kind of taking the brunt of it because their friends and my friends were escalating and escalating and escalating. And it got to the point that these people that we were kind of close with, there was such a beef that shit went down. And I mean, it changed the course of history. And I know we had my buddy Randy here, and he knew about it and he was part of it. And that was part of the reason that he got shipped off to Vegas and then went into the Navy. So it was some crazy, like, I can tell this story, but people will be like, there's no way that's true, but it's 100% true. And to this day, like, I don't even know how it ended up getting that far. And I was just thankful that the night that everything went down, I took the decision of, hey, I'm just going to go home. And I went home because I knew, I was like, nothing good is coming out of this. And it was like either Christmas Eve or the night before Christmas Eve, which was the worst part about it all. And ruined some people's, you know, I wouldn't say ruined their lives, but definitely affected their lives for a long time. We'll have to talk about that.
Oh yeah, I'll maybe we just bring in a round table of some more stuff. I could tell you about my graduation party and some of the people at my graduation from high school getting arrested. You know, and the party getting broken up in the cars to leave. I mean, we all had some crazy stories, but again, not to, you know, be Al Bundy with the 3 touchdown story or whatever like that, but just to show from a perspective of how things can get out of control and how and I'm wrong, our era was a lot more lenient, but how things can get out of control and how the wrong decision with the wrong mentality for the wrong reasons can mess you and your family's life up forever.
And just like, you know, Frisco's a nice part of Dallas. Yeah. I mean, I grew up on the Scottsdale, North Phoenix border. Yeah. It's a nice neighborhoods and good families, you know, make decent money. It wasn't like we were in the hood, but it escalated to something that you would think that you would see in the hood, not in the nicer, you know, not the neighborhoods we're living in. And you wouldn't think that we would be involved in something like that. So that's great. We definitely have to talk about some of this stuff because I got a bunch of some high school stories that are crazy high school stories.
Yeah, maybe we'll have all of some crazy high school stories.
There you go. All right, man. We coming to the end of the show. Quick, give me your thought of the day.
Oh, yeah. I guess you want me to go if I'm just going to reiterate what I said earlier. You know, if if you're going out to eat at a restaurant and you have the money to go out to eat, make sure you tip appropriately. These people are working hard for, to serve you. They don't make much. The minimum wage isn't a livable wage. They rely on the tips. And like I said, if you have a bad experience, unless the server just like cursed you out and spit in your food, it's probably not all their fault. It's probably a myriad of things. So don't take it all out on them because you had a bad experience.
Okay. For me, it's going to be interesting to see, and we probably don't touch on the next show, the tariffs and all that stuff, because we're starting to see, I don't know, we're just starting to see a lot more changes. And, again, political sides, left, right, but when Trump first got elected, and again, I hate all candidates equally. I think they're all puppets for the people that really run the world. I'll keep saying that until I'm blue in the face. But we're starting to see the trickle down of, goods and services costing more. It seemed like last time we got that. It's so funny. I think this time it's the right that's, it's going to push it up, the narrative. But last time it was the left with minimum wage, needs to be a living wage, but it was never a living wage. So, but the narrative increased the cost of goods and increased the cost of everything. And this here, I think, is going to increase the cost of goods again, and then people are going to start losing their jobs, and stuff to AI and robots and different things like that. And that's why they'll get rid of the taxes, because you can't tax, unemployed people, but you can definitely tax anything they buy. And so it's already, I think there's already a plan in place, but we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong.
We talked about health on the show well before. Last week, like I said, felt like dog shit, something like that. And just me getting older, definitely got to start, taking care of myself, especially with stress and everything. So my suggestion for people is, no matter what's going on in your life, take care of yourself first. Make sure, because if you ain't around, then fucking you ain't gonna worry about the shit anyway. So that's what I'm saying is just make sure you go to the doctors or go get your wellness check whenever you can. So on that note, we out. 2 on the 10. Later.
Cool.